Hey everyone, Gil here at GrayManPrepping. All right, so this is part B of a three-part video series on planning for emergencies. If you have not seen part A yet, pause this, check down in the description down below. I'll have a link to part A. Go ahead and watch part A first. There are things in there that you're going to need to know before we go on to part B here. Okay, so let's get at here now for part B. I'm going to start off by recapping part A. We pointed out in part A, we went over that one of the biggest problems most people have in getting prepared and prepping, whatever you want to call it, is that they go at it piecemeal. And they wind up, pitifully planning and preparation predicates pathetically poor performance. In other words, they fail at a lot of stuff, or they just plain old forget stuff or just miss it. We also talked about the rule of three, which we mentioned extensively in video number 2 of the series, Is It Too Late to Prepare? All right, we also went over what a base plan is and how it covers water, food, clothing, and shelter, why it covers these, and not much else. The base plan is the foundation for other plans. You can call them scenario plans. You can call them what we did in the government tactical response plan. So you had a response plan for fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, winter storms, summer heat waves, whatever you want to call or want to prepare for. There was a plan specifically for each one. We went over the 4 things you need to start with when working on a plan. Pencil and notebook, hope you got it. Co-planner, someone to help you out because 2 brains are better than 1. An open mind, because you never can tell who's going to pop off something that just sparks that bit of, that's what I'm looking for. Spark that bit of inspiration that makes you come up with the one piece that your plan really needs. Use of a parking lot for any ideas that come out of sequence. So you write them down so you don't forget them, and you can come back to them later. And patience. You got to have patience to when doing this. There's no hocus pocus, poof, you're done. All right, so let's pick up here now. This is going to be where we're picking up. We're doing the actual classroom portion of this. The types of emergencies that you want to prepare for determines your plan of action. Well, what is a plan of action? Plan of action. A plan of action is a written, chronological, step-by-step process by which a goal is obtained. To point this out, I'm going to use an analogy from a different field altogether. Construction, building a house. They use a timeline of what to do, when to do what. It's written, it's chronological, step-by-step process by which the goal, a fully built house, is obtained. So you don't start out by, let's start building the roof before we have the foundation poured. I know it's a little extreme, but you do certain things in a certain order so it works out right. A plan of actions needs to use SMART goals if it's going to be successful. Now, SMART goals is an acronym. And right here, usually I would play another video in the classroom pertaining to SMART goals. But I'm not going to dump another video in here, but I will have the SMART goal video up in a couple weeks so you can go watch it in its entirety. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of SMART goals right now. The S in SMART stands for specific. You need to be focused on what it is you're trying to do of your goal. You can't be, let's get some of this in there. Let's get some of that in there. Oh, let's grab this. Oh, it's down here. No, you need to be specific about what you're going to be doing. You don't want to go at it haphazardly. And your goal must be measurable. It has to have a clear definition of when you've succeeded, when you're done. It's kind of hard to say, I got my goal done when you don't have an end. It's like running a marathon when you don't know where the end finish line is at. It's like, am I done yet? Do I keep going? So it needs to be measurable, have an end time on it. It needs to be obtainable. Goals should be challenging, but you don't want it so challenging that there's no way you can actually complete it. You also, in the obtainable part, you look at whether or not it is something that you can actually do. And this section is where a budget would come in to see if you can, depending on what your goal is, whether or not you can afford to do it. Relevant. This is kind of throws people for a loop a little bit. But I'm going to give you an example here. When we're talking about preparedness, you can't have as a goal here, well, I need to get a 1965 convertible Nova, for my preps. Is it really relevant to your preps? No. So it's not relevant to being part of the goal for your SMART goal of getting prepared. Time bound. Every goal needs to have a target date, a date you're supposed to be completed. That helps you, motivate you, get you fire lit under you, get you going, and get you to finish it. If you have a goal and it's like, well, I got 5 years to finish this, I'll start working on it next week. Not a good idea. You need to have a time frame, a relatively close time frame to get it done. Now, once again, relative is, 9 months could be relative compared in doing the proper goal. 2 years could be relative, depending on what you have lined out and doing. I've worked on construction projects where it was a 5-year construction project, but there was boom, 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 all the way along the line. Time frames would get things done along the way. Now, as an example for beginning, preparedness and having a SMART goal, one might be, I want to have 1 year's basic supply of water, food, and clothing, and I want it stocked in 9 months. Is this a SMART goal? Well, let's look at it. Is it specific? It's very specific. 1 year's worth of food, water, and clothing stockpiled in 9 months. Is it measurable? Yeah, you have a year's supply of food, water, and clothing. You have a certain amount you have to get to, so you know when you've completed it. Is it obtainable? It might not be obtainable for me, and it might be very easy for you, or vice versa. Or someone else can go, 9 months is too long, I can have that done in 3. Check it out to see if it's obtainable to you and your situation. Relevant. Does this pertain to your overall goal of being prepped, prepared for emergencies, whatever? And yeah, it does. It pretty much pertains specifically to being prepped. Is it time bound? Oh yeah, you have 9 months to finish it. So this is the SMART goal. So we're talking about a base plan a little bit, basically, and basic supplies. So basic supply goals. Here's something you might consider for setting up your basic supply goals. Water, since water's the first thing. You've probably heard everybody talking about you need a gallon of water per day, per person, minimum. So that's 365 gallons of water for a person for a year. That's just drinking water. Or for some food prep for certain things. Yeah, but that's basically the water intake you need to have. The next one here is 730 gallons for washing hands and brushing teeth. And people are going to go, whoa, I don't need that much water to wash my hands and brush my teeth, blah, blah, blah. I can just use part of my drinking water for that. No, you can't. If you get your hands all greasy and stuff, it's going to take a bit of water and scrubbing, soap, a couple times to get your hands clean, where you can deal with food. You got to make yourself lunch, whatever, all right? And brushing your teeth, you're not swallowing that water, you're spitting it out. However you wash your hands for, before each meal, whatever it is, where you can wash your hands, you're going to learn to use a bit of water no matter how careful you are about it. And someone's going to pop off and say in the comment section, I'll just use hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer don't cut it for getting your hands properly clean, removing grime and dirt It may kill bacteria on your hands, but they don't get the dirt off. Now the next one here is 600 gallons for bathing. And once again, some of you out there are going to rebel at this, but just wait and listen. This is only taking a bath or a shower every 3 days. Every 3 days? But if I'm out there working every day, I'm going to get hot and sweaty and nasty. I'm going to need to clean up every day. And where did this 600 gallons come from anyways? Well, it's come from experience. For years, we have used these 5-gallon camp showers to shower at camp. It takes about 5 gallons to do it right. Sometimes you can do it a little bit less. But, use about, quart or half gallon to get yourself all wet and all soaped up and lathered off. You can scrub yourself down, get yourself all cleaned up. Then you use the rest of it to get the soap off. You don't want to leave the soap on your body. So there you figure 5 gallons of water for a shower. Well, that's way more than what I use when I take a regular shower. Don't bet on it. Time yourself from the time you turn the water on, not the time you step in it, the time you turn it on and start running it, to the time you turn it off. And then get some 5-gallon buckets and turn it on and see how many of them you fill up. The next thing is non-potable water. And from all the literature and stuff I've gone through and all the data I've had and worked on and set stuff up, comes out about 2,000 gallons per day, 2,000 gallons per person per year. And that covers for laundry and flushing a toilet. Now, everyone's going to freak out. 2,000 gallons, that takes up a lot of room. I'm not going to have any place to put that. You notice there's a little asterisk there on the gallons. If you save your water from bathing, from your showers and stuff, and have a plastic underneath it where you can recover it, and any water from washing hands, you set up like a wash station with a 5-gallon bucket to catch the water. Well, you just have 1,300 gallons there that of gray water you can use for flushing the toilet. Now, some of that water you use for washing your hands and maybe even from showering, you'll be able to use again, not only just for the toilet, but for actually washing clothes. Your clothes are really muddy and stuff, and you need to get the mud and stuff out. And you may have to be washing it twice, one to get out semi-clean and one to actually clean it. Well, you can reuse the bath water and hand washing water to get a lot of the stuff out of the clothing so that you can just clean it a lot easier. So you can recycle water into non-potable water. Now you can also have collected waters in juice containers and milk cartons that you've rinsed out and you have them stashed underneath the house all around. That gives you more water there that you can use for laundry and for flushing the toilet. Then again, if you decide you're going to put in a pit toilet, that eliminates a lot of water right there. Food. How much food do you really use on a monthly basis? Do you really know exactly how much food you use? Do you go out? All right, so let's look at this. What you need to do is track all the food you eat, all the food that you eat for 3 months. And you may find out you're going to want to start adjusting your diet now. Because if you're going to work and you're not taking a lunch from home to work and you're going to McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, whatever, and you're buying stuff there, you're paying a lot of extra money for the food prep service they're doing. That's money you're actually kind of just flushing down the toilet, that if you made lunches at home and brown bagged it, you would save a lot of money. And you actually aren't counting how much you're actually eating there and stuff. It's kind of hard to calculate. So because if it's in a SHTF situation, TWACI situation, where all of a sudden those places aren't functioning anymore, now you're like, oh no, okay, how much food do I got here? Oh crap, I don't have that much food because I've been eating so much elsewhere. That's why you might want to think about adjusting your diet now so that you're not eating at fast food places. you're saving money, and you're able to spend that money you're saving on your preps. Clothing and shelter. Well, shelter should be your home you're already in. You're not like a government agency trying to set up a COOP facility or continuity of operation plan facility where you're going to be going to someplace else to every time there's a hurricane or whatever and operating from there and then coming back. Unless you are down there in Louisiana or something, and you actually do have to evacuate. We'll talk about that when we get into the bug out section. So clothing, on the other hand, if you are working in an office or in a hospital or some other place where you have a type of clothing that you don't work in the dirt in, and now everything's gone down the drain, the balloon's gone up, and suddenly you're no longer working at your job because it no longer exists. You're working at home, raising animals, planting a garden, trying to raise your own food. You're going to need clothing that is made for that. So you want to go ahead and start stockpiling that type of clothing so that you have it ready to go. And clothing, unlike some foods, doesn't have a best use by date on it. The types of emergency that you want to prepare for, hurricane, floods, fires, whatever, determines the goals you need in your plans. Example, if you're planning for a hurricane, a goal you might have in your plan is, hey, I want to put storm shutters on all the windows in the house. That way I'm not going out and buying plywood and screwing it into the side of the house every time there's a hurricane. I want something in there that's ready to go and saves me time. I don't have to worry about fighting people at Lowe's or Home Depot to get lumber. Needs versus needs. You need to figure out what your needs are and what your needs are. And everybody's going, what the heck is a need? Well, if you're a Dr. Seuss fan and you remember the Lorax, and he talked about needs, that people made all these needs and had to cut down all the trees for it. Well, a need is something you think you need. So you need to determine what you really need and what you just think you need. Like, I think I need a Hummer, where what you really need is just a simple four-wheel drive. You need to prioritize your needs. So you make a list, start on that notebook, start writing down, I need this, 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 this. You take that, and I'm going to show you what you do with it in just a second. And then you also need to prioritize your wants. Write them all down. Write everything down. Write down all your wants. And then start numbering them for the priority of them. Once you have both your wants prioritized and your needs prioritized, but once you have those prioritized, you'll be putting them into a spreadsheet here. Now, needs. What are some needs? I've actually had people tell me this is what they need to be prepared. I need an MRAP, one of those mine-resistant armored personnel carriers that's, I have to go out for supplies. I can go anywhere I want and nobody can touch me. Either that or it makes you a target because they see you coming out every day or once a week to go out and get supplies. They may wait and late for you when you come back and take you out and take all your supplies from you. I need 40 head of beef to feed my family for the rest of our lives. This one I just shook my head at. No, you don't. How many people in your family? Oh, I got 8 people in my family. Well, you might need 2 head of beef a year. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where we don't have cable TV anymore or the internet, so I'm going to need a big 96-inch or 120-inch TV hooked up with the game box and the PlayStation and the Wii, so we can keep them going cabin fever crazy. And it's like, no, you really don't need a big TV that big to do that. Well, I'm going to need a couple of 80-year-old cases of scotch because I won't be able to get it anymore, and I just got to have my scotch. Really, you have to have scotch. That's all I had to say was said on that, and the guy goes, oh, I guess you're right, I really don't need scotch. Okay, next one here. Someone else said, oh, I need to have about 50 CCTV cameras all around my property. I can see everything that's going on. So I can see anytime anybody's approaching, sneaking up to my windows. I need to see everything all the time. And that's like, what, you got 500 acres that you need 50 CCTV cameras to cover? You know, just as long as you have enough just to, if you really need it, if you're in a neighborhood where you really need to worry about that, you don't need 50 of them to cover your place. And you may consider about moving. And as Steve likes to say, the latest high-speed, low-drag gear. Yeah, I really need to, this just came out. I really need to buy this, man. It's $300, but I really need it. Why? Are you using something like that now? Well, no, I have something, but I don't, but I want the latest and greatest. No, you don't really need it. You think you need it. So these are, just some examples to show you what, things people think they need, what they really don't need. Okay, so that wraps up planning for emergencies Part B. In Part C, we'll get into stuff with the spreadsheets I was talking about and how to prioritize everything we've been talking about and a lot more. All righty? So don't drop out yet. There's going to be a 20-second little end clip here coming up that'll have some links to some videos you may want to go ahead and watch. Always, everyone, remember, stay happy, stay safe, stay prepared, and if you can, plant something edible. Get something growing that you can eat. All righty? Take care.